Today I'm taking you to Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, Netherlands. For Gogh Museum, I highly recommend you to make a reservation a month ahead because they only give you timed entrance and usually they're all sold out, especially in high season, which is August and July. And we're going to start from the temporary exhibition and then we will move forward to our permanent exhibition. The temporary exhibition started with the landscapes. I want you to look at all these colors, especially at the roof of the house, how the transitions are, how the color choices are. When you're studying a painter, I think it is important to notice things, like think like them. Why the brush stroke is in this direction rather than this direction, or why did he choose to paint this color, let's say, as the first layer and second layer was this instead of that. Or let's say, look at the house. There are two types of bricks there. Why one of them was painted with smaller brush strokes and the other one was bigger. Those kind of thought processes will help you to build your own style. And this is a very famous painting by Van Gogh as well, and you can see this beautiful blue that comes from lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is extracted only in Afghanistan. It's a very expensive material, it's a mineral, and then you get ultramarine blue with that. And because of this, he was not eating, he was not drinking, he was buying supplies, and this is why he was extremely thin for a very long time. I'm trying to get close-up looks so that you can have an idea about how his painting style was and how he treated the paint. I can see that he never used thinner. I think he used the paint as it was without mixing with anything, and that created that Van Gogh look in his paintings. And you can see an unfinished sky here, and I think that gives the idea that, oh, wait a minute, there's some imperfection here. How did that happen? And that kind of gives you the shocking effect. One of the most famous self-portraits of Van Gogh. I wish you could be there to see this, but the paint was amazing. It was like pearly, kind of blue, but at the same time purple color there. His mastery was amazing on that brush. And also in this one too, if you look closely, you will see the minor changes in color and also the brush strokes. Look at here. And look at the branches. Look how he gave the fireplace effect. The infamous Dr. Gogh portrait, this was sold in an auction in 1990 for $82.5 million. And the buyer was Ryohei Saito, who was one of the richest men in Japan. Now you will see two not very famous paintings by Van Gogh, but I really love them. This one is the first one, and the second one is my favorite. I just can't explain, but I kept staring at it for 15 minutes straight. Wonderful. Wonderful colors, mastery, and the composition. Now we're going upstairs. They divided the whole exhibition in sections as where he painted his paintings, those kind of paintings. And now we are in a different location now. And in this place, he mostly painted portraits and women portraits. Some of these women were the people that he knew, such as Dr. Gogh's wife. And some of them were just prostitutes that he was just hiring them to paint them. According to the sources, he was also falling in love with them desperately in Story of a Lonely Life. Most of his paintings include melancholy, yes, but also movement. You can see how dynamic all the paintings are, even though some of them are extremely dark. In order to show you the mastery of his hands, I'm just zooming in as much as I can. And in this one, you can see how the grass is moving in different directions, and that gives a whole new feeling to the whole painting. I think Poppy Field was the darkest painting I have seen that was made by Vincent van Gogh so far. Look at the sky, it's amazing. And this is the infamous Van Gogh painting, which was told by some sources that it was the last painting he did, which was not true. The wheat field with crows. It is melancholic, definitely. The sky is very dark, as if a storm is coming. You can see that the wheat is moving with the wind, and the crows are giving this dark feeling to the whole atmosphere. In this painting, you see very different brush styles, brush stroke styles, let's say, and I want you to have a look at it and think why he chose that technique instead of the other one. And if you have a look at this one, for example, you see that there are not as many details as in the previous one. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was his last painting that is known, Tree Roots. Between the temporary exhibition and permanent exhibition, you can go through the gift shop, of course, and you can find anything there. Anything, literally. Phone cases, toys, and even chocolate. And at the entrance, you can pose with this giant screen that shows Van Gogh pieces. Now there are self-portraits. As you know, Van Gogh painted so many self-portraits, and this one has a different color palette because he used to have this kind of palette before he turned into this. So he was using mostly brown tones as the Baroque artists used to. But then after the Potato Eaters, as he found his style more, then he introduced colors more. And every self-portrait is very different than the other one because he was feeling differently. When he looked in the mirror, he was seeing someone different. Here, for example, he's extremely thin because he was not eating well. He was just painting, and probably he was going through a lot of trauma. This series that you will see now, he was living with his parents to save money, and he was getting prepared for his masterpiece in his mind, the Potato Eaters. So you can see the village, what he painted around the village, the church, the people, and the peasants. You can see that he was trying to perfect his art for his masterpiece. Then he started doing these portraits, and one of these people in these portraits, one of these peasants, will be in Potato Eaters. Now, the famous Potato Eaters. So according to Vincent van Gogh, this is his best piece ever, but a lot of people had criticized him for this painting because they didn't like them, they didn't like the color, they didn't like the composition, but afterwards, of course, it became very famous and very important. Especially Theo, Van Gogh's little brother, said, you're very talented, but you're very old-fashioned. You need to change your palette. You need more colors if you want to sell. And then he decided to change his palette after his little brother's advice. The Shoes is one of the other famous painting of Vincent van Gogh. And there were some other still life works as well. And I want you to look closely to this famous self-portrait. Look at the color choices on the face. Isn't this amazing? I pose with these paintings, guys, so that you can see the size of them. I'm using myself as a scale. And in this still life, you will see some cabbage and garlic. But the main point here is that he used complementary colors very wisely here, that the whole painting popped out. So there was some Japanese effect on Van Gogh's art when he was living in Paris with his brother. There were so many Japanese art coming in because his brother was working as an art dealer. And as Van Gogh was introduced to more Japanese art, he fell in love with it. He felt very calm with it, and he created these art pieces, these prints, after famous Japanese art pieces. In that era, not only Van Gogh but also Claude Monet, you will see a lot of Claude Monet art that is influenced by Japanese art. Van Gogh used to go to cafes and observe people and see through them and paint them. And these two are good examples of this. And the famous sunflowers. So there are 5 sunflower paintings. The one that got tomato souped by 2 protesters, it was in London. This one is still clean. This one is still safe. Just using 3 shades of yellow, he created this beautiful golden painting as if it was made on a silk fabric. Beautiful. And the bedroom. So this was actually Vincent van Gogh's own bedroom in the yellow house. And you can see on the right side, the wall has a weird angle, and that's actually how it was. It's not a mistake. And according to Van Gogh Museum, this painting did not have any blue color in it. It was actually all purple. But in time, the purple color faded and it became blue that we see today. Also, all these paintings that were hung on the walls were in preparation for Gauguin's visit. As you know, Paul Gauguin and Vincent van Gogh lived together for a while, but then it ended up with a big fight and breakup. Gauguin's chair. So Paul Gauguin painted Van Gogh's chair, and Van Gogh painted Gauguin's chair. And 2 chairs explain each other's personality. I don't know what to get from this, but I do like how he painted the carpet especially. In this section in the museum, they explain how Van Gogh used complementary colors in order to make his paintings pop more and draw more attention. The top floor included more information about Theo and Vincent van Gogh, 2 brothers, and how close their relationship were. There were some letters, there were some drawings by Vincent van Gogh that was sent to his brother. And some of the drawings were, not very detailed. They were just sketches, but some of them were really detailed, just like this one. You can see in the letters that 2 brothers really loved each other very much, and his little brother supported Vincent van Gogh till his death. And actually they died 1 year apart, actually 6 months apart. After Vincent van Gogh died, Theo got really sick and he died 6 months later. And actually Theo van Gogh's son, named after Vincent van Gogh, was going to build this museum years later. So these are the paints and the palettes that Vincent van Gogh used. This is Theo's wife and his little son, and that little son grew up to be Vincent van Gogh, who built this museum, as you can see in this painting. This is the Yellow House, and Yellow House is where Paul Gauguin and Van Gogh lived, and Vincent van Gogh lived there before Gauguin as well. We are talking about the one with the green window frames. If you go there, you're not gonna find it. It doesn't exist there anymore, but you can see a cafe there, right? There was also in a painting, you remember this painting, Café Terrace at Night. This is Paul Gauguin's portrait of Vincent van Gogh when he was painting some flowers. Also, Vincent van Gogh painted Paul Gauguin while painting. Such a nerdy painter friendship. And these are the reproduction of Jean-François Millet paintings by Vincent van Gogh, and I think they are very successful to a point that, in my opinion, some of them are even more successful than the original ones. What do you think? Please share in the comments. Irises. So Irises is a series that he painted while he was in the asylum, when he was first admitted to the asylum. And of course, when you say irises, there will be more than one to this, but Van Gogh Museum had this one only in that series. And you can see how beautifully he used the contrasting colors again there as well, with orange and blue. This is a very interesting and unique Van Gogh painting, if you ask me. And this one looks like tree roots a lot, but of course, a different concept. It was interesting to walk around in Vincent van Gogh Museum because it's such a weird feeling, because you don't know what you're exactly gonna see next, but you kind of know what you're gonna see. So it doesn't surprise you, but somehow it really surprises you. This is what I liked about Vincent van Gogh. And now what I'm going to show you is a very famous painting as well, Almond Blossoms. Vincent van Gogh made this painting for his nephew, named after him, and he told Theo to hang this in the nursery, and this is what his brother did. I hope you found these art pieces as brilliant as I did, guys. When we got out, we saw some people drawing, but they were not artists. They were just random people picking up some crayons and trying to draw some trees. Hit the subscribe button if you like, and I'll see you in my next museum vlogs or my art tutorials. Bye bye.